Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 298 of our trip around the United States. Last night, coming into Harlow, we made it to about our halfway point through the state of Montana. We really have just the western half of the state left to tackle before we move our way into Idaho. For today, we're supposed to be taking the admin day in Great Falls, but because of the way our schedule's changed, we really don't need to take an admin day. What we will do though, is take the day a little bit slower than we have the last week or so. We're gonna take today and cover about a couple hundred miles. As we make our way to come into Great Falls, we'll take a little time exploring Great Falls before we come down to Helena. Now, again, we've already been to the capital of Montana once before, but since we already have to go down there to find the DeLorme Challenge Final, I'm not gonna pass up on the opportunity to show you the Capitol building and to get to see it for myself once again. Once we finish up there, that's where we're gonna stop for the day and get ready for the last couple of days we'll have ahead of us in Montana. For now, Aichan and I are excited to be able to see Great Falls for the first time and be able to showcase the Capitol building at Helena to you. So let's go see what it has in store. Come on, let's go.
Our morning begins in Harlow Town, the county seat of Wheatland County, with a population hovering right around 1,000 people. The city was founded in 1900 as a stop along the Montana Railroad, named for Richard A. Harlow, the Montana Railroad's president. It was at this stop that steam or diesel engines would hook up to electric engines for the 438-mile trip through the Rocky Mountains to Avery, Idaho. I understood this sentiment, as this too is why we began our day in Harlow Town, ready to cross into the Rocky Mountains. From here in town, you can see 3 mountain ranges dominating the skyline: the Crazy Mountains, the Little Belt Mountains, and the Big Snowy Mountains. Since this was only a precursor to what lay ahead, we took our time enjoying the sights here at the Veterans Memorial in front of the courthouse before hitting the road. Following the highway north and west out of Harlow Town, we find ourselves coming into Marr County with a population of about 2,000 people. Just like Wheatland County behind us, this is a very sparsely populated area where Aichan and I feel like we have the world to ourselves. Finding a geocache that only requires a walk of a few hundred feet, Aichan and I set out above the shores of Lake Southerland, enjoying the morning breeze off the water.
This is kind of like walking through an active minefield. You have to really watch your step here or you will definitely be in a cow patty somewhere along this pasture.
Continuing north past Lake Southerland, we slowly begin our ascent into the mountains. A quick detour off the highway had us running through Spruce Gulch with cows lining both sides of the road. While the cows had very little interest in what I was doing, they were very interested in what Aichan had to say, following her every movement from the time that she stepped out of the car. Our trek through this lonely region offered us 2 things in spades: amazing views of the sprawling landscape and geocaches hidden out in the wild. At the more rural stops, it was just a short walk along the hillside to locate the prize we sought. And in the small towns that we passed through, we were the only people in sight in any direction, so we didn't have to worry about muggles as we dove in for the find. Eventually, our sporadic trail of finds led us out of the first set of mountains into the city of Great Falls. This is where Aichan and I would be spending the bulk of our time today. The city is named for a series of 5 waterfalls located along the Missouri River. The county seat of Cascade County, this is the 3rd most populated city within the entire state, with more than 60,000 people living here. It is also a very important tourist destination, serving over 1 million visitors per year. At the north end of the city, overlooking the Missouri River, you can find the Montana Veterans Memorial. Dedicated on May 29th of 2006, the memorial was built on the spot where General John J. Pershing was once bivouacked. It was designed to inspire reflection on the selfless contribution of Montana's veterans. The curved outer wall of the memorial runs in a circle for nearly 100 feet, featuring black marble bricks bearing the names of Montana veterans. Around the inner circle, a 5-foot-high wall stretches for around 50 feet, encircling a cast bronze warrior angel. He stands upon a grindstone, symbolic of evil being crushed, with one arm extended, releasing 5 doves in honor of the 5 branches of the U.S. military. Coming into town from the Veterans Memorial high above the Missouri River, our first stop is the Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art. While it is a new virtual listing that has brought us here, it is the interesting history that grabs our attention. When it was constructed in 1896, it was built to house the city's first high school, which resided there until 1931. It was then renamed to the Paris Gibson Junior High School, which it served as until 1975. It then reopened its doors in 1977 as an art museum, focusing primarily on contemporary art. After touring our way around its outdoor sculpture garden, we made our way into the downtown area to tour through the sculptures there as well. The most prominent of these is the Kid Russell and Monty statue. Completed in 1986, this is a nod to Charles Marion Russell, the famous cowboy artist from Great Falls. There's also another kind of sculpture that you can find haunting its way all the way around the city. In 2006, 26 bison and 4 calves migrated into Great Falls, where artists transformed them into unique works of art known as the Great Buffalo Hunt. Like darn near any city of this size, there were geocaches to be found in any direction we pointed our GPS. While we didn't have nearly time enough to visit them all, or really even a small fraction, we did pick out a few of the award-winning ones off the map that looked like they were well worth a visit, and we were not disappointed in the least. Aside from the great geocaches, the interesting history behind some of the city's buildings, and the many varied statues, the thing I enjoyed most about exploring Great Falls was the multitude of murals to be found around every corner. Whether shooting straight down the main road in town, exploring a side street, or popping into an alley, you can expect to see many interesting works of art. Most point to a facet of the town's history, like this black and white mural of Charles Russell. This world of creations found throughout the city began with Art Fest in 2019. During the event, talented artists from across North America united to craft awe-inspiring and impactful murals throughout the vibrant downtown area of Great Falls. Local residents watched in amazement as these artists transformed blank walls into beautiful galleries of artistic display. ArtFest has continued to grow with each passing year thereafter. During the event hosted in August of 2023, 9 new murals went up in the downtown area. Knowing that there were so many unique works of art to be discovered around town was all the incentive Aichan and I needed to explore the Electric City a little further. Whether in a big city like Great Falls or a small town on the prairie, I believe every place can benefit from murals like these. And while I doubt many communities can afford to have artists fly in from across the country, there's no need to do so. There are many local talented artists found within communities across the nation. Providing these budding artists with an opportunity to showcase their talents is a win-win for everybody involved. I look forward to finding more communities showcasing the arts like Great Falls. Since we already had to pass through Lewis and Clark County to get to the DeLorme Challenge Final, we could not resist the opportunity to drop in to see the state capitol building in Helena. Founded as a gold camp in October of 1864 during the Montana Gold Rush, Helena immediately became a wealthy city, with as many as 50 millionaires living here by 1888. The 32,000 people living here make it the 6th most populous city in the state, but as a point of comparison, is the 5th least populated capital city to be found within the United States. Since 1902, the Capitol building found here, also known as the People's House, has served as a commanding symbol of the past and a bold promise for the future to come. Continuing beyond Helena on our way to the Delorme Challenge Final, we come to the shores of Canyon Ferry Lake, a reservoir serving as the 3rd largest body of water in Montana. It was created through the completion of the Canyon Ferry Dam in 1954, making for 35,000 acres of surface area across the reservoir. After a very short drive out of Canyon Ferry, we park the car and begin our hike to the Delorme Challenge Final. What we find are several sets of hills where all of the trees have been burned and knocked over. This makes the hike much simpler for me, as I can just proceed in a straight line and step over the trees. However, for Aichan, it makes it that much more difficult. She can't easily hop over the majority of the trees, so we pick a very careful path and zigzag our way through. She gingerly makes her way over the top of some of the smaller trees, and when we encounter some large obstacles that we can't find an easy way around, I give her a quick lift. Even with the very slow, plodding pace we took to get out here, in practically no time at all, we had the prize we sought in hand. We eagerly popped the top on this fully laden container and enjoyed hauling our way through the contents to see if there was anything we might want to trade. And that completes our mission for the day, with some daylight left to spare. Now it's time for Aichan and I to enjoy this marvelous view and catch our breath before the hike back.
All right, and it looks like that is going to do it for our day. We began our morning just south of Great Falls and took a drive through the forested mountains in the Lewis and Clark National Forest to cover the gap to get to Great Falls. Once we got there, Aichan and I had a great time getting to explore the city. Great Falls is full of murals. The views out over the dam and the waterfalls were fantastic, and the Veterans Memorial sitting there on the bluff overlooking it all, really couldn't beat that. Once we finished our time in Great Falls, we dropped south to come into the state capital, Helena. We got to take a tour of the state capitol building area, always a favorite for mine to do, and come out here and add our names to the logbook for the Delorme Challenge final for the state. Now all we have left is the western tip of Montana, and that's going to take the rest of our time. Even though the miles that we have left to cover aren't as significant of what's behind us, they are going to be much more difficult because we will be traversing the mountains for the remainder of our time in the state beginning tomorrow. I know it's going to be a little tough, but with luck, we won't be dealing with too much snow. I still have high hopes that winter is behind us. Either way, looking forward to finishing off Montana with a bang. Like this video, subscribe, stay tuned for updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.